Lumos. When I was a wee lad, I loved cramming my head full of stupid shit and dreaming about what it would be like to live in all the fantasy worlds I would see in books, movies.
Without further interruption, let's celebrate and suck some dick.
And chief among them, video games.
Whoa, hey guys, welcome to EV Games.
But a standout for me was the world of Harry Potter. I remember binge watching the first two movies ad nauseum to the point where I would remember practically every scene off by heart. And also make my family hate me more than they already do, but come on, can you blame me? It was cool as fuck, dude. An average kid like you or me finds out he's special and gets sent off to a magic castle to be a wizard. Boy, I'm on that like EDP 445 and cupcakes. There was this sweet, juvenile innocence to it all and... okay, this joke is getting out of hand. Look, what I'm trying to say is that I remember it all fondly because, pun intended, it was magical. The warm, inviting atmosphere, the mystery, the loosely explained detail behind it all, which I'm sure would never cause any problems later on. It just had this way of sucking you in and made you wish it could be real. I wanted nothing more than to have my own special adventure, my own story, because if you were anything like me, a lonely, mundane and boring childhood just couldn't inspire or motivate you the same way fictional media could. Which, again, I'm sure would never cause any problems later on. I turned out mostly fine, I think. Anyway, I ate that shit up. I took those movies as gospel and thought they could do no wrong. It was the peak for me. And even to this day, as an adult, I still fucking love these movies. But there was never a video game that let me insert myself into this world, at least to my knowledge. And no, creating a custom character in the LEGO Harry Potter saga doesn't count. The LEGO games were fun though. Good times. I don't even remember playing any of the movie tie-ins, to be honest. Not like I would have missed out on anything anyway, since historically games like that aren't even worth your time. Besides, what was the point? I'm just gonna go for a story I already know. So for a long time, this need went unfulfilled. It just seemed like one of those things that you wish for and never seems to come true. Please, Miyazaki-senpai, give us Bloodborne 2. I don't even care if there's 2 poisonous swamp areas. And then out comes Hogwarts Legacy Muggle, the brand spanking new adventure where you can be a magical wizard in the magical world of Hogwarts. You, epic games. You like magic? Yeah, you like wizards? Well, 1, 2, buckle up your shoes, because it's time to go to motherfucking Hogwarts, baby. Woo! You want to be a wizard?
Shadow Wizard Money Game.
Witch. Or whatever Joanne hates, just the spider.
What is going on here?
Doesn't matter! What the fuck? Got Wizard 101. It's time to get sorted into your house. Cast spells. And relive the most painful years of your life. And get back to school. Yeah, nostalgia isn't cheap, buckaroo. That'll be $100, please. Get used to it, pal. We live in a world where everything and anything is monetized, even your childhood. We're living off the coattails of a world that may have never even existed. That's right, we get philosophical up in this bitch. So, Hogwarts Legacy. You guys know what it is. The game with the magic and the witches. Looks like most of you enjoyed it.
Hey, that's pretty good.
It sold a lot. Probably made a lot of money too. More than I'll see in my lifetime, that's for sure. And at one point, did you know they were preparing witch hunts for the people who played the game?
Ironic.
And if you didn't purchase the game, not that I blame you, plenty of people took the sneako approach.
I just like to watch you guys.
If you know what I mean.
Something everybody should do.
So what's the big deal? Well, I'll tell you, alright? Just relax. No need to get up all on my face. Just give me some breathing room. Jesus! Anyway, from the top, Hogwarts Legacy tells the story of you, John, or Joanne, or mine, Joe Dan Business Legacy, and their sudden acceptance into the infamous Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, renowned for its student fatality rate slightly below that of your modern American high school.
Hey guys, Sleepy Joe here. Remember to love your country, eat ice cream, and pay your taxes.
Since our recruitment falls outside the regular channels, we're gonna need some extra help, since we're utterly useless and know nothing about magic. Shit, this is hitting close to home. To get us up to speed, special education teacher Professor Eleazar Fig is dispatched ahead of time to teach us the basics and accompany us on our journey to Hogwarts. However, before we can make it to our destination, the magic school bus is attacked by none other than a fucking dragon. Crikey, he looks mad. We're gonna have to calm him down by stroking his tail. by stroking his tail. This man is a national treasure. Show some fucking respect. Anyway, this dude just gets straight up eaten alive after handing us a token plot device. Look, it's a whole thing, but we somehow wind up stranded in the mythical land of Scotland, famous in IRL lore for that one Mel Gibson movie, Stuffed Sheep Stomach, and the creation of manskirts, which scholars believe to be the foundation for the modern femboy. After taking in our surroundings and getting a lay of the land, we find and solve a Scooby-Doo mystery, which transports us to the Gringotts Bank of Cultural Insensitivity. Our token plot device, courtesy of stock character number 4, grants us access to one of the oldest vaults of the bank, to which we are promptly escorted in style. However, before we can claim the legendary drop inside the vault, server admin Ragnarok, leader of the oppressed and downtrodden, arrives to abscond with the legendary loot. But because we hate equality and are truly righteous in our ways, we run away from both the situation at hand and the moral complications that come with living in a fascist wizard society. Also, we may or may not have some super special secret connection to what's referred to as ancient magic. This is all convoluted and poorly explained, so for this reason I have come up with an easy to follow abbreviation for the viewers at home. Connection to unknown magic, or for short. You guys following along so far? Good, let's move on. So, the stakes have been staked, and all the pieces are on the board. But we've got questions. Why are people so interested in our calm? How do we put down the slave rebellion? Will any of this be on the final exam, sir? And are there any vegan options available? Following this bombastic introduction, we finally make it to our destination, and see it for the first time. Hogwarts. And can I say, this scene just slaps, bro. I had goosebumps the first time I watched this. And the best part is, this is where the fun begins. We get sorted into our houses with our very own sorting hat ceremony, which, by the way, isn't disappointing whatsoever.
God, please, no! No! No!
We get to see the common rooms, take our first few classes, and the moment everyone's been waiting for. Explore the damn castle. Everything is just so full of life and detail. There's puzzles and collectibles everywhere. They're even in the fucking walls. You walk into a room, bam! A suit of armor sucker punches the guy next to him. Head down the hole and kapow! There's ghosts dueling and chasing each other. Go outside to finally touch some grass. No unregulated spell usage on school grounds, mister. You got a license for that? I spent the first 10 hours or so just exploring absolutely everything I could. I even solved the puzzle in the bell tower without Wingardium Leviosa. Yeah, I'm an epic gamer. How could you tell? We also get our first taste of combat by joining the Underground Wizard Fight Club. Combat feels good and responsive, simple, but who cares? I get to be a fucking wizard. We'll come back to this later. The atmosphere is amazing and the first few quests really sell it to you. Classes are fun to attend with these cute little cutscenes that nail the aesthetic, and while sadly there isn't anything to do, again, I don't care. It looks cool. Also, if you're willing to stop running around like a prepubescent hyped up on pumpkin juice, you can lend a hand to one of your colleagues, like helping not Hermione getting her flying books back. Then committing extortion on a minor because fuck Gryffindor. Me and all my homies fucking hate Gryffindor. So, to save you a 50-minute quick retrospective, those first few hours were just so much fun. And when you finally remember that there's the rest of the game, no, a whole world out there for you to explore, it's hard not to be optimistic about the future. Where will this story take you? What classes do I have? Can I play Quidditch? Could I join the Pure Blood Supremacists? And where can I learn that instant kill spell?
Oh shit. Here we go again.
Also, where's my bloody broomstick? Oh, I actually have to progress the game to unlock it. Fair enough. At least it's not a microtransaction. As I got older, so did the story of Harry Potter. The third and fourth films were different. The biggest contrast by far was that they weren't as vivid and colourful as the first two. The films were more mature, well at least they tried to be, and that made sense, I guess. Since we weren't really kids anymore, and naturally if you expect this was going to be a story that grew alongside us, well, it would change. My favourite part about them was the action. There was more at stake because the scale was larger. You've got soul-sucking demons and dragons for Christ's sake. They also tried to plant the seeds for the romantic subplots, but that shit was disgusting. Excuse me, Joanne, you got cringe all over my wizard.
Get out of here, boy. Get that weak shit out of here.
Harry Potter.
My ass. Get the fuck out of here, man.
That, and I'll be more than happy to forget about what it was like to be a young teen with hormonal imbalances. I reckon I carried most of those into adulthood now that I think about it. But what I noticed most was the drop in quality. The films were still good, only they seem to have lost some of the magic that won me over initially. I think the last good film was Goblet of Fire, a story that started off with a young boy with no innate talent other than his own willpower and desire to do good, battling off against a mysterious Dark Lord and forces he doesn't yet understand, now has time travel, more than one fairy, and an OP instant kill spell. It sets the stage for the increasingly dark and mature nature that the story will take, but not all is well at Hogwarts. I mean, are things ever well? There seems to be a catastrophe of some sort every second week, threatening the lives of all the fucking children. You know, sometimes I think the youth of the British Isles do it to themselves. Does anyone remember Mizzy? Come on. Can you imagine trying to go to botany class and instead of being greeted by an enchanting, red-headed vixen, you instead get caught with a stray fireball for 6 D10 fire damage because some bozo thought it was a good idea to take a weapon of mass destruction for a tour of the school grounds. Right, so you fail your dex save. You attempt to avoid the fireball, but are caught by its blast. As a result, you take 69 fire damage and, hold on. Yes, your foreskin is melted off. After the first few hours of playing the game, you're probably going to start questioning things and begin to have reservations about some of your actions. When you think about it, the story is pretty generic. And given the context, why is it centered around us stopping oppressed peoples? Guys, seriously, who greenlit this? Oh, don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking you for the idea. Based on the source material, it's very lore accurate. I just want to know who had the balls to approve this kind of story in the modern era, given our generation's refined sensitivities and understandings.
Why would you say something so controversial yet so brave?
So, after catching the eye of not only the slave rebellion, Cum attracts the attention of Victor Rookwood, the leader of what is effectively a magic domestic terrorist cell in league with Ragnarok. Aren't we supposed to be like 15 years old? You know, like having older men take an interest in me kind of reminds me of Sunday school.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Alas, although this is grave news, thankfully, Professor Fig assures us that the token plot device has provided us the means to finally get some answers, leading us to explore various dank caves and chambers of secrets. And no, it's not the magical genocide chamber. That one doesn't get opened for another 100 years. Eventually, our search leads to the Keepers, a group of old-ass wizards who safeguard the existence of ancient magic. They refuse to share more information until we prove ourselves, and yet again, a younger generation is forced into trials and tribulations for the appeasement of their elders. Fuck boomers. But fret not, because fortunately, allies and forced companions are provided to aid us in our journey. These include Magical Horse Girl, Foreign Exchange Student, and Don't Worry Babe, I Can Fix Him. Each pseudo companion has a mostly interesting background and series of side quests, and naturally, their personality fits their house. Sebastian is the misunderstood bad boy Slytherin you see in poorly written fanfiction. He has a soft heart shadowed by his tough exterior. Huge Scorpio vibes, or so I've been told.
This right here is my favorite thing.
Natty, like all Gryffindors, is headstrong, unreliable, full of misguided self-confidence, and believes herself to be the main character. Then we have Poppy. Poppy doesn't have a personality because she's in Hufflepuff.
You don't want to be like this. This is disgusting. This is awful in every way.
Oh, there's also a Ravenclaw as well, but look, no one likes Ravenclaws. Ravenclaws don't even like Ravenclaws. Besides, he's only with us for one mission anyway. Look, no, we don't even talk about this guy. God, his voice is so annoying. Their stories are to varying degrees of cringe, but my favorite is Sebastian's, for no reason in particular. However, I hope this hasn't distracted you, young Padawan, because all that polish that lured you in, it's starting to come off. Once you've been to one class, you've been to them all. You complete a simple prerequisite, watch a cute little cutscene, and depending on how your teacher's feeling today, they'll grant you another tool to perpetuate mass murder. I mean, come on. There's no way you could expect a role-playing game where you're a student at a school, let alone a AAA game with a large amount of resources.
Money!
Could result in anything interesting. It's not like anyone has done something like that before.
Why, in my day, we felt nothing of castrating the new boys.
Could you imagine the friends you make can be determined by, say, your choices? Or your academic performance be influenced by, perhaps, your decision to even go to class? We do keep getting reminded of our OWLs, and I would sure be disappointed if this all amounted to nothing, and it was actually the developers blowing magical smoke up our asses to make it seem like this game's got any substance. Speaking of substances and lack thereof, let's lay off the flu powder and talk about combat. Oh my god.
What are you up to
God,
now?
Please shut up. Just shut the fuck up, please. It's very simple, as I mentioned earlier. You spam basic cast, block or dodge attacks, and weave in your more powerful spells between cooldowns. Your come also means you can call upon godlike powers should you choose to unleash it on your enemies. After abstaining for an arbitrary period and building up your reserves, you earn the right to burst in a mostly spectacular fashion, such as calling in an airstrike from Mother Nature and increasing the global supply of poultry. Whew. Can you imagine leaving someone disappointed after all that? Jeez.
Honey, it was ruined when she bought it. Yeah.
But what would any power fantasy be without a wonderful cast of characters we will have no qualms killing in untold droves? So, according to the game, there's a funny number of these guys you can face in Mortal Kombat, ranging from your average British pub enjoyer.
All this alcohol. I don't any drugs. I might just write in.
Congratulating, mate.
I don't do drugs. I'm against drugs.
Congratulating, Chris.
Blow hard.
Congratulating. It's a radio, you muppets.
To congratulations, you've just successfully prevented 3 to 15% of the global population from even picking up the game. Unfortunately, however, 90% of the enemies you'll face are actually reskins, so I hope originality isn't important to you.
Corporate needs you to find the differences between this picture and this picture.
Okay, I already see one. Give him. Okay.
They're the same.
But we're getting carried away. Aren't we forgetting something? What tool of state-mandated oppression would we be if we did not have an exceptional arsenal of deadly instruments to abuse?
Open the door. Open the door. Open the door.
We got flame spells, ice magic, spells that f*** with gravity, spells where an errant cast can cleave you in twine. It's all there. You know, someone should do a ranking for these. You're gonna watch that next after this video, right? Right! The spells are pretty lore accurate as far as I can tell, with the exception of a couple, and they all look and sound as though they came straight out of the movies. But most devilish of all are the unforgivable curses. But we'll save what I have to say about those for later. Hold up! Holy mackerel, Batman! Check this out! All our spells are perfectly color-coded, and all the enemies have the same colors too. Holy shit! I wonder what the fuck we're supposed to do with that. It's a goddamn mystery! Okay. There is a small level of mechanical depth, as you can use certain spells in certain situations to help counter enemies, which is really clever, but half of them aren't even worth the effort. Don't get me wrong, it is satisfying to switch between all the spells and get a nice little combo chain going and all that jazz, but with how scaling works in this game, eventually, combos are not even possible at higher levels. I suppose that doesn't really matter, since I don't think any of us were expecting Devil May Cry at Hogwarts or anything like that. Oh yeah, there's also potions and plants you can use in combat too, but I found them really tedious and boring to use. They're also OP as fuck. You know you could beat the final boss in the game by imbibing performance-enhancing potions and hurling hostile vegetation at them. Wow, fucking 10 out of 10 gameplay, guys. Fucking incredible. Also, I won't be acknowledging stealth builds here because, really? Why the fuck is this even in the game to begin with? Like, who on God's green earth said, yeah, I got the wizard game so I could sneak around? What the fuck is wrong with you? Not to deflect here, but are we ready to have the conversation about the morality of love potions yet? No? Okay, moving on. Right, let me see here. Next is gear. Yep. So, can anyone tell me who the hell thought it was a good idea to get this Destiny-style loot crap in here? Boy, get that shit out of here. Like I give a fuck if the cock ring I put on gives me an extra 4.2% poison resistance or some shit. Sheesh! And don't even get me started on the Merlin trials and that gear capacity bullshit. Bro. Also, riddle me this, mudblood. When I eventually sell all of the shit that I pick up, what am I supposed to do with all this gold? There's nothing worth buying. Gear you purchase gets made redundant by the next piece of moldy underwear you'll peel off a corpse 5 minutes up the road. So the only other thing that comes to mind are the upgrades for those shoehorn vivariums. Speaking of which, I really think the developers overstated how much time players would spend here. Oh, don't get me wrong, I fully utilize this mechanic, yes, because why would I be a beta wizard and buy all the consumables and materials I needed when I could just produce my own in my own automated magical sweatshop? I don't care how this thing looks. It's optimized for maximum efficiency, baby. You know, I'm honestly not much better than the poachers. I barely feed all these animals that I caught. I just come by once or twice to collect the materials I need, then breed them so I can sell their offspring. So yeah, I guess I'm just role-playing a piece of shit. Oh, Alas, when you're not busy eliminating whatever unfortunately got in your way, or taking better care of pixels and lines of code than you do of yourself, you'll be faced with a myriad of collectibles and simple puzzles scattered throughout the landscape. Do you guys remember those? They remind you of the LEGO games a little bit, eh? Well, you're in luck, because they're stuffed into every single nook and cranny. And boy oh boy, you better get used to solving them, because for some reason, they've been made part of the magical state-issued school curriculum, and are hence mandatory to help gain the experience needed to level up. I trust you find it no surprise that their quaint charm is going to wear off real fast. Alright, maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh here. Some puzzles are actually quite challenging, like those Depulso puzzle rooms. Which sadistic put those together, huh? No, I'm not stupid. I saw how many of you the walkthrough videos got on YouTube. Don't lie to me. Everybody Google how to solve them. I actually took a really long break from Harry Potter after the fourth film. A real long break. It was only a couple of years ago when I sat down and watched all the films back to back. I couldn't tell you why I lost interest. It's been so long that I can't remember. All I know is that I just stopped caring about it at some point. But there was always this lingering curiosity about where the story would go, at least for the parts that weren't spoiled. God, sometimes I really hate the fucking internet.
Dobby dies! Dobby dies! Voldemort dies! Dobby dies!
So what did I think about the final few movies? Well, they really sucked. And honestly, I'm not surprised. There were things that were established at the very beginning of the story that never really went anywhere. Concepts that were introduced and weren't fleshed out, or were promptly dropped due to the complications their inclusion would cause later on in the story. Time travel. They also really leaned into all the romance stuff, and I mean, there is a time and place for this stuff, maybe. But why was it so bad? To be fair, there were some really interesting and touching moments that struck a chord with me. You know, seeing characters we knew as kids bite the dust, or having realizations that recontextualized how we perceived certain characters. I would be lying if I said it was completely shit. But in all honesty, the easiest way to describe it was disappointing. And considering all the decisions that could have been made with the story, characters, or world building, it's just so saturated with missed opportunities that it really brings down the whole experience. But that's life. Growing up is realizing that things change, and that you may not necessarily like that change. Shit, I'm starting to sound like a boomer. However, before we go any further, I think it's time we address the grap horn in the room. It's time to talk about the controversy surrounding the game, and you all know what I'm talking about. The whole drama, fiasco, travesty, Old Testament levels of fire and brimstone brought upon the earth for what this game represents. So let's cut it with the hashtag Harry Potter game bullshit and just call it for what it is, okay? I'm sick of people beating around the bush and not owning up to what this is.
And whatever the layers are, and you mix them all together, what do you get? Kill trans people.
It's a Sigma Wizard teenage genocide simulator. Oh, you thought I was going to talk about the other thing, weren't you? No f***ing way, boyo.
I'm not sure what you're talking about, Professor. Professor Emrock was right about wizard kind, always thinking yourself superior to others.
I knew it! You're just as bad as everyone else. I hate this school.
Penny promises to work as hard as she can for such a kind new owner. Psych!
I look forward to working with you.
So, after exploring enough dusty caverns at the behest of older men encouraging us to explore Arcana, we slowly uncovered the story of an Isadora Morganach, girl boss witch extraordinaire, who found herself in the same predicament we did, only she chose to fight back against the system to prove she didn't need no man by committing unsanctioned magical experimentation on children. When confronted by the Keepers, it is revealed that Isadora has been storing a large amount of evil magic beneath the school because she became convinced she could use her own cum for good, and was subsequently corrupted by it. In response to being caught red-handed doing the magical no-nos, she does what any rational adult would do and commits first-degree murder and begins to flex on the rest of the Keepers with extreme magical prejudice. But before things can get out of hand, Homeboy whips out the chopper and hits him with a click, 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 click. I think there is a lesson in there somewhere, maybe something to do with finding better acronyms. But before we can reflect on this revelation and submit our assignment, the castle comes under siege, as legions of minorities and the downtrodden are fast approaching in search of what's hidden beneath the school. It turns out this is what Ragnarok has been searching for, and why he and Rookwood had a particular interest in us. Speaking of Rookwood, he tries to abduct us after we finish visiting the local wand attic. Unsurprisingly, he wants to betray Ragnarok because he's also a racist. Oh, and he also offers to share what's beneath the skull since we are the superior race. Thankfully, before we have the opportunity to make a meaningful independent choice of our own, the game says no, and we decline his offer. Good. Infuriated at being rejected by a minor, he touches us without our consent and transports us to the Royal Rumble, Hell in a Cell, where he and his gang try to bang us over the head with their wands and spray us with their swords. Look, we have to handle like 50 guys at once here, and honestly, it's one of the better parts of the game. Just ask your mother.
What do you mean by that?
Anyway, we delete this sucker and send his ass to the Shadow Realm. Not from a place of malice, mind you, rather righteous fury, because a protagonist would never step over the line. Anyway, enough about that. We have more pressing issues, like putting down a bunch of lower class citizens. Fortunately, we're not alone in this struggle. Throughout our journey, we interact with a variety of characters whom we can choose to assist. Or not, we can just clown on these muggle f***ers. I will admit, I'm glad they actually allowed us to have some freedom of choice here. You could be so brutal. I love it when games have this fable level of morality, like, would you like to help this person out of the kindness of your heart? Or do you want to steal their lunch money and play hopscotch in their chest cavity? Moreover, after traveling alongside our companions and racking up enough murder charges to make Jeffrey Dahmer blush, we can complete their loyalty missions and see their stories through to conclusion. I suppose it would be prudent for me to follow up here and comment what I thought about them. So, some of these are better than others, and for the sake of keeping things moving along, here are my thoughts in no particular order. Maybe. Poppy. I, for one, found the quest helping a My Little Hippogriff girl who looks like she suffers from fetal alcohol syndrome find the last of an endangered species to be particularly lackluster, especially considering we didn't get to see if the centaurs are really hung like a horse. Look, honestly, bro, if I cared about animals, I would actually be a vegan. Boring. Next time, give us magical Steve Irwin. Natty. Gryffindors are annoying. But I really felt for Natty after hearing about her tragic backstory. All that guilt and trauma, coupled with the fact that she's on the other side of the world, so far away from home, and forced to bring all of that with her. Yeah, look, I stopped caring after I found out she was a furry, and I did not appreciate being ground zero for her trauma dumping. I did appreciate her eating the shit for me, however. Sebastian. Now, I actually really like this one. His first few quests really sell some of the more mature aspects of the series. You know, you got a group of kids messing around with power far beyond their capability, leading them down a dark path. Chef's kiss. It was grand. A bit flat toward the end because of how predictable and cliche it was. I think it would have helped to flesh out Solomon a little bit more. You know, homie was not wrong. Also, if you ratted Sebastian out, you're a bitch. Wait, hold on. What do you mean these guys won't help out at the final battle? Then why did I waste my time helping all the weak kids when I could have just told them to go Anyway, it's up to us to put down these pesky goblins and restore the peace, which we do with extreme efficiency, as by this point, we are nothing if not a seasoned killer of the oppressed. So ensues an epic conflict beneath the skull to determine the fate of something important. What are we fighting for again? And our ultimate confrontation with Ragnarok, for I don't know, thinking minorities are deserving of equal rights or some shit like that. In the end, we unfortunately suffer losses in pursuit of our victory, and the future of the wizarding world falls upon our shoulders, which of course is no call for concern as we can be absolutely trusted to do the right thing. And when the dust clears, all was well. Oh, sorry. Did you expect there to be any repercussions or outcomes resulting from our behavior throughout the school year? If you believe that, you really haven't been paying attention, because it doesn't matter what you did throughout the whole game, since it boils down to an arbitrary choice. Do you want the obvious good or clearly bad final cutscene? And you know what the worst part is? This is one of the only examples where what you choose will actually influence how things play out. Did you muck around in class or forget any side quests? Doesn't matter, because you'll win the House Cup and pass your OWLs regardless. Geez, can you imagine if it worked like that in real life? Need another example? Okay, let's take a look at the unforgivable curses. These spells are so evil. They earn you a one-way ticket to magical Alcatraz. So powerful, they allow you to dominate the battlefield. But what is the price of wielding such power, you ask? Well, you can cast them with reckless abandon with no consequences. Yep, that's it. All upside with no downside. You don't even get in trouble if you find a way to use this magic in front of people who should book your ass for being a straight buster. The only reason you would stop yourself from having fun and not use them would be for role-playing purposes. But if you can find a way to effectively role-play in this game, you've got a better imagination than I do, bucko.
So that was a lie.
I don't need to labor on how disappointing this is. Did you expect there to be overarching systems to accommodate dynamic player choice or some shit like that? By the midpoint of the game's story, it became readily apparent what kind of game I was playing. It was another one of those AAA games that lured you into partying with your hard-earned moolah. The nostalgia, the fancy marketing, the pretty graphics, assuming the game is optimized enough to run in the first place. It's all from the same playbook. If you were expecting anything other than a fake action RPG with Harry Potter flavoring, you were fooled. Choices you make don't matter. They are cosmetic only and try to give the illusion of depth. There are no repercussions for what you do or don't do. So to market this as an experience where we can make choices that define your legacy and all that shit, it's just disingenuous. First time we get a mostly original story in this universe, and what do we get? Bethesda levels of player choice and Ubisoft-style open world design that does nothing to try to push the boundaries or be creative. And don't give me the excuse that it wasn't possible. It is definitely possible. It's been done before, and heck, there are recent titles that do this exact thing. Granted, not in the same setting, but I remember a time when games weren't just all pretty pictures with hollow interiors, you know. For all its faults, you have to recognize that the game is very authentic, with fantastic attention to detail. Everything looks, feels, and sounds as though it came straight out of the pages of the books. The characters, locations, and the music, they're all done so well. But when this is your only strength, it's hard not to think that this is intended to distract you from the glaring problems that are right in front of you. But of course, you can't stop to think about things when you get distracted by all the pretty lights and meaningless content. Remember when I mentioned there's a whole world out there for you to explore? Well, bombshell incoming, ladies and gentlemen. It's mostly fucking empty, with copy-paste bandit camps and other innocuous bullshit designed to give your dopamine-addled brain a little buzz, trying to trick you into wasting more of your time here long after any worthwhile reward is given. You know what your reward is for finishing all the Merlin trials? Nothing. Fucking nothing. And let me tell you, I hated every fucking second it took for me to find that out. You know, it's predatory and manipulative shit like this that makes me despise modern game design. Okay, here's the secret. If you want people to actually invest more time in your product, make it worthwhile. And if you can't do that, just make it extremely addictive. Have you seen what cigarettes and alcohol can do? Look, this game is mid and will disappear like a fart in the wind if it hasn't already. With all the outrage and controversy that was surrounding it, you would have thought they could have at least done something remotely interesting at the least. No amount of DLC or additional content like Quidditch will improve the game in any way because it's just fundamentally lacking. Like, are you kidding me? With modern technology and resources, is it so hard to provide something with just a little bit of substance nowadays? You know, you're not asking for fucking pennies here, boys. I'm not a game developer, but on a professional level, how do you even stand by a product that is flawed to this degree? I understand, to some extent, the problems people who work in the industry face, but was there truly nothing nobody could have done to improve this in any way? Because in the end, all they've created is this designed for everybody, enjoyed by nobody, AAA drivel. Did you know this game was in development for 6 years? 6 years. And do you have any idea of how much what was initially planned made it to the cutting room floor? And why do you think that was? Was it too hard? They were too scared of reminding people that actions have consequences and didn't want to upset everybody? Because nobody got upset when this game came out. Maybe they were afraid to lose some of the intended audience or, God forbid, affect the bottom line. The budget for this game was around 150 mil, and they knew they were going to make bank since they were filling a giant gap in the market. So what was the reason? They claim it was to make the game more accessible and available to players, but personally, I don't buy it.
The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
Well, I did actually. I bought it twice because I was going to get some good footage on my PC, but yeah, that didn't pan out too well. Modern gaming, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, I encourage you to draw your own conclusions. I can't definitively say what series of choices got us to where we are. But let me be clear about something. At the end of the day, this by no means would have saved the game. But I do believe it would have gone a long way to improve its longevity because, like I said, this thing has come and gone. Just look at what happened at the Game of the Year awards. No nominations, no nothing. But then again, who really gives a fuck about that shit anyway? Do you know what the funniest thing about all of this is though? They plan on this being a long-term franchise. So, ready your broomstick, ladies and gentlemen, because they're gonna milk this thing so fucking dry, it's gonna make you wish for a movie adaptation of The Cursed Child. Why does it have to be so disappointing? Why is this yet another victim of poor business and consumer choices? It's just so unfulfilling. And why does it have to be filled with so many missed opportunities? That reminds me of something. It took me a while to come to the conclusions that I made about both the games and the movies. Maybe because I'm older and more mentally deranged that I can no longer find the joy in the things that I used to. You know, it's funny how much you can change as a person. Mostly for the worst, but that's unrelated. When I was a young boy, I wanted to go to Hogwarts and have my own story. That desire went unfulfilled. And growing up is realizing that a lot of what you wish for, it just won't come true. Not because it isn't possible, mind you, rather because it's stupid. Like, Hogwarts isn't real. Wake up, bozo. I got what I wanted when I was an adult. Kind of. It was a nostalgia trip that got me by the balls and dragged them over the broken glass of a bygone childhood, leaving me with that stinging pain of happier memories. Yeah, that's right. We get symbolic up in this bit too. It was a brief feeling, but it was nice to experience that joy again. That feeling of excitement and wonder and where the journey will take you. Such optimism is rare these days. But eventually, the cracks start to form. Things fall apart when held under scrutiny. And the pain of reality soon catches up to you. Before you know it, you got a soul-crushing job in a sanitized corporate hellhole and adult responsibilities, whatever those are. So you haven't got time to worry about fantasy, and it's the depressing reality of the modern world that occupies the finite space in your mind. I appreciate that this game gave me some reprieve in that regard, and all jokes aside, help inspire me to do something that I've always wanted to do and never had the courage to start. But I'll be damned if it couldn't have been something more. Eventually, just like the end of every school year, you have to take that train ride home, but you'll never be alone on the journey. You'll always have the fond memories and friends that you made along the way to keep you company. But yeah, I suppose it wasn't all bad in a way. Doesn't change the fact that this game is cringe and mid as hell. 69 out of 420, Slytherin is the best house, and pure blood supremacy all the way, baby. Also, don't expect any more content on this piece of shit. I am done. I never want to see or hear of this game again. The only reason I did this is because I am stubborn and considered it a good idea. Now get out of here and go touch some grass or something, because I have something to take care of. Hey guys, Cannoli here. Just want to say thank you to everybody who made it to the end of the video. I very much appreciate your attention, and I hope you enjoyed at least some part of what you've witnessed here today, or at the very least have very good healthcare. Second, there's a lot of the game that I glance over. I mean, look, I don't think anyone really watches anyway, so I'm surprised if you guys would be wanting more, but I just didn't feel like it was practical to cover the entirety of the game. So that being said, if there's any parts that I missed, something I got wrong, please feel free to comment down below, or, you know, start some kind of racial or political discourse down below. The world is your oyster. So to close out, I thought I might, you know, share a personal story. Story time, unplagiarized edition. So, I was a little young when Harry Potter was at its peak, but I knew people that were all for it. You know, the movies, the books, the costumes, everything. It was fucking nutty. Like, it was pretty mental. So, there was this one girl that I knew, and she just was Luna Lovegood, dialed up to 11. I'm convinced that she took her as her personality and just really fucking ran with it. You know, she really went for it. She was convinced that, you know, it was cute, it was quirky, and I mean, not really, unless you're just looking for an easy body. I get it, but look, that was her shtick, right? Now, at one point I was having a conversation with her, and you know, at the time I was trying to be prim and proper, you know, take care of my skin and all that shit. And she suggested a remedy that she'd found on TikTok, because when all that witch talk started, you know, blowing up out of fucking nowhere, she went all for it. Like, she really went into it. She was convinced that that shit was real. Like, she got the spell books, she did the rituals and everything. Like, anyway, she suggested that to help remedy the problems I was having with my skin and to help improve, you know, its luster and its look. She suggested that, she offered to save some of her period blood and offered that to me, and I could smear that all over my face. And she absolutely attested to its efficacy. Needless to say, I humbly declined her offer. Very gracious offer, mind you, but it just didn't seem right for me at the time. Anyway, let me know. Is that a real thing? I'm not sure. Is that something that people do? I'm not convinced that it works, but you know, do people do that, or is that something she just pulled out of her ass to with me? You know what I mean? It really threw me for a six, because I really hope that she was joking around, but unfortunately, my gut feeling tells me that she was quite serious, which is a bit of a shame, but hey, it is what it is. So yeah, let me know down below if that's something that you guys can attest to or you know about. Jesus, if I haven't scared anybody off now, I'll be surprised if anyone's still hanging around. I will be looking at the metrics when this is done. Oh man, I got mental problems. Anyway, get out of here. Go do something productive. Enjoy the rest of your day. Happy holidays. Yada yada. Take care of yourselves and your family. Love you. See you later. This is the YouTube sign off. I'm doing it differently. Ciao.